We are live. I always have to, there's always this pause. Anyway, guys, you're watching Unpopular Review, the NXT edition. There's so much to talk about. Thea has a new attitude. Trick had 2 matches tonight. Tony and Stacks had a sit down with a bunch of people. And we have the card for No Mercy. So we're going to talk about it all after this very quick intro. Badguy Jack Wrestling Doll NXT review show. Hey folks, it's Unpopular Review, the NXT edition. It's a Tuesday night. You know what that means. I'm one of your hosts, the great Grand Slam Poobah, because I have merch to sell. And I'm joined with the fantastic, matter of fact, I can't say fan. It is fantastic, but since you're the Wrestling Doll, I had to have the word with a W. The wonderful Wrestling Doll. Wrestling Doll, why don't you tell the lovely people, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. NXT was good tonight. Enjoying the NXT after my birthday. Celebrated not once, but twice on this channel. Ooh. We got to take a look, see not only from last week's episode, but also from my first top 5.
That was a very first in Unpopular Review history where it was a top 5 dedicated to one of the hosts. It was oh my God, I went down the route. My saliva went down the wrong throat. It was a fun show. We got to hear what made you a wrestling fan, your top 5 women matches. It was a good time. It was me and King Von. King Von don't usually be on as much. He's usually on with Mike Knox, giving This Week in Wrestling History. So shout out to him for joining us on that day. Wrestling Doll, real quick, why don't you give your thoughts about tonight's NXT before we break down everything? Is she still there? Or did it freeze? It might have freezed. Okay, I'm just going to take over for right now, guys. I think she's frozen because I just see her standing still. Let's talk about NXT. Let's open up with NXT. Matter of fact, let's get into the chat real quick. I'm sorry. This was just so abrupt. How do we do this? Okay, boom. We got George. George is always the very first person here in the chat. Shout out to George. He says, "What's up, everybody?" Matter of fact, let's click that. I should click that, right? He said, "What's up, everybody?" He also says NXT was pretty solid. He also mentions and says, "I thought that Joe Coffey was going to win. I was wrong. It looked like Butch versus Noam Dar this Saturday." And the camera's just going to zoom right on me. Boom, right there. You guys get to see me in my bandana. I'm in my American Badass Undertaker phase. That's why I'm wearing a bandana. Bandana. I said banana. That would be terrible. The crowd was with Trick Williams tonight. Trying whoop that trick. Yeah, they were really behind him. I love that for one. Here she is. Wait for her to come back. You never know what's gonna happen live. That's what I was doing. I was stalling. You guys don't even know it. I was stalling. Let me bring her back in. There she is. Wrestling Doll, welcome back.
Sorry about that. Wi-Fi was being weird.
Don't be. Things happen. I think the lovely folks know what happened. Anything could go happen when we go live. I was just reading some of the chat. George, he took over the whole chat. He said Thea Hail is going to learn quickly not to trust JC Jane, and she's going to run to Andre Trace. I hope not. Welcome Jay Cargill to WWE. Welcome Jay Cargill to WWE, signing a multi-year deal. George really took over. We got to get somebody else, George. We got Jay, who said, my guy Braun went off tonight. Carmelo is getting smoked, and I'll be enjoying it. There's a possibility. We're going to give our predictions for No Mercy. We got, why is George spamming the chat already? He's always here first, Jeffrey. Shout out to Jeffrey. What's going on? Now you got Twisted Bronson. Bronson is coming for the Rumble. Braun stole the show. Braun stole the show? Really? I don't even know if he really stole the show. I love that.
5 minutes.
I love that.
Out in the public, then backstage for like 2 more minutes, and then at the very end for like 5 more minutes after that. So he stole the show for about, if my math is correct, 12 minutes.
I love that him and Baron were pretty much Peter Griffin and the Giant Chicken because they just kept fighting. I was waiting for them to fight in the car, and then the car crashes to a boat, and then they just fight in the boat, and that was some of my favorite.
On the car, just not in it.
They did. We're gonna get to that part. Why don't we just start with the opening? That's where we should start. Is at the beginning. We have you can't talk. You were late.
I was not. My internet was just being stupid.
Yeah, don't be rude, Jay Braun. Jeffrey also says, "What's up?" Jeffrey's such a solid dude. Shout out to Jeffrey. H-Man's not in there. Okay, we're gonna give the point job to Jeff. I mean, not Jeffrey. No, George. George, give Jeffrey 5 points. Jay, you was kind of mean, so we're just gonna give you a -6 because you was very rude. So -6 points. You're starting off really bad on the show. But NXT, it opens up with Butch against Joe Coffey. I think this was the proper way. This was the finals of this Invitational for the Heritage Cup. I didn't write the points, but looked like Joe Coffey had 1 point above Butch. Butch won his bracket. Joe Coffey won his bracket. These guys went out there, and I thought they had a really solid match. I mean, something that I feel like if you was watching NXT UK back in the day, this is the kind of stuff that they were going to deliver. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not going to go match move by move. I saw George wrote that Joe Coffey. I didn't think Joe Coffey was going to win. I thought they were going to have someone strong to go against Butch to make it look that way. But Butch was going to definitely get the win. I figured they were going to keep a baby face to go against Noam Dar. Noam Dar, what were they dressed up like? Those guys from those derbies, like those Kentucky derbies or something like that. I didn't know what they were going for.
Yeah, like last the people that bet on the horses.
The people who bet on horses. Like, you know what I call them? Fools.
Yeah, at the Kentucky derbies. That's what they look like.
Well, I can't even call them fools because don't they win a lot of money? And then I'm the fool. Oh, I'm broke, so I shouldn't be talking. I should probably bet on some horses. I would say let's go. What was that one? Seabiscuit. Let's go Seabiscuit. But I thought this was some really good stuff. Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne. Oof, sorry. Butch is going to be getting his getting a shot at Noam Dar. And I believe these guys are going to go out there and kill it. Shout out to Butch getting this win. I'm happy about this. Russell Dahl, why don't you take the floor? What did you think?
Well, like you said, this was a great way to start off NXT. It was a great match. Butch is definitely bringing out the classics. He did that last week with Tyler, so we got it now with Joe Coffey. I'm happy that the ref actually eliminated Gallus out of there because they were interfering so much and trying to ensure that Coffey takes the win, even though he unfortunately lost. And I mean, we already have one heel versus heel match in Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin. We don't need another one. So I figured going with Butch will be the way to go. And so the people can get behind him and see why he's good outside of being in the lovable Brawling Brutes.
No, fantastic. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at the chat. You guys always crack me up. We got Jeffrey says I'm always the professional. That's not true. Let's not lie. George is with the point system. He took 6 points from Jay. Jay says I'm nice. Wow, already out to get me. So apparently there's a conspiracy against him. Chris mentions we'll say Frank, huh?
Asuka's birthday.
And it's Asuka's birthday. She is
42.
Doesn't look like it. And it's not even because of the paint. She doesn't look like it.
There are some cultures where the people, they take care of themselves like really, really well. They look like they're either aging backwards or not at all. And Asians definitely have like intensive like 20 step skincare routines that keeps them looking youthful.
Yeah, no, she looked very youthful. I was going to point out, believe it or not, I know I look very youthful, but I've been on this planet for so many years because I take care of my skin. So if you take care of your skin, you can look youthful forever. You couldn't tell, but I've wrestled Abraham Lincoln on the coldest day in March. Just wanted to throw that out there. We got Trick Williams. You know, why don't we just get this segment all together, right? I just want to combine it all together. We have Tony D'Angelo and Stacks, right?
Yeah.
Stack Tatum's, right? I want to make sure I got his name right. Stack Tatum's. I feel like he has another name too, but I'm gonna just say Stack Tatum.
It's Channing Stacks Tatum. No, wait, Channing Stacks Lorenzo.
Oh.
You mixed up with the actor.
Yeah, see, I knew it was the actor's name because I said, hey, it's the guy from Step Up. But it's not the guy from Step Up, but it's his name. I just that was amazing. But I'm just stick to Stacks because I have already am embarrassed myself.
You can just call them stacks. Everybody does so.
Yeah, we're gonna stick to stacks. But they're having dinner, right? They're in this fancy Italian restaurant. Looks good. Question: are you a fan of Olive Garden?
I don't mind it. It's been a while since I've gone to it. Last time I went on a mother-daughter night out.
No, because I say that because I think they're great. I don't go there all the time. You can get really full off the breadsticks, like Red Lobsters, with the biscuits. I hate when they do that because then they say, "Hey, do you want your meal?" No, I'm already full from the biscuits. But I wanted to give a shout out to Olive Garden. But they're in this fancy Italian restaurant. I want to make sure I got this right because I wrote names right. But as you guys can tell, I'm old school. I use a notebook. But we had Angel and Humberto were there first, and they were talking and they were saying some things. But eventually, Creed Brothers comes in. I want to point out real quick. Everyone talks about Julius, right? I really am a big fan of Brutus Creed because he is funny. He is a funny dude.
The funny one. That's Brutus.
Yeah, Brutus is the one because Julius. I'm sorry, I was blanking on his name. Julius is the Captain America, no nonsense. Brutus is comedy Thor, if that makes sense. Like he makes the funnies, and I don't know. He was really funny here, and it made me laugh. And I said, I like these guys. I see in the chat because George, they said they named the tag team OTM. What was that?
Out the Mud.
Out the Mud. Thank you. Because I think that's a weird name, but whatever.
It is, but I think it's just something they're working on as far as like ideas. I don't think it's going to stick. I highly doubt that's going to stick as far as a tag team name, because if it does, their creative needs whatever Riddle was smoking and get a new name for them, because that was horrible.
Yeah, I agree. The naming is horrendous. I don't know why they thought that was good because they kept saying it, and I said they're going to really try to get that over. But they're all
get over.
They're all at the table. They're all trying to make their case on why they should go for the tag team championships. Each team, I don't want to say pouring their heart out, but sitting here going, well, we should go get a tag team. They're mentioning Humberto and Angel saying we should go for it. Creeds are making their case for it. And I forget which team, but I think it was Out the Mud, right? That's what we're calling them, Out the Mud, right? They're making the case saying like you got a shot, and these other team like you guys was. I love how they said Humberto and Angel were just like sleep the whole time. No, they separated and then had this whole CW like sequence. They wasn't sleep the whole time, and then when they went to sleep, they woke up with a scar. Like, has that ever happened to anybody? You just fall asleep and has a scar. But they're all trying to make a case for to be the number one contender. To which eventually Tony stands up and he says, he mentions that you guys are all making the case, but I don't want no excuses. So we're gonna face all you guys at No Mercy. I just wanted to tie that all in. There was a bunch of other like things in there, a lot of words, but I just wanted to just sum it up real quick. We have Trick Williams against Joe Gacy. I'm going to start with you, Russell. I'm going to let you take the floor first. Thoughts on this match, Trick Williams, Joe Gacy?
The people love Trick Williams, and when he came out and everybody started saying, whoop that trick, I swear, if they do not make merch of that, they are missing out on some gold. They're missing out on an opportunity. But this match was great. It showed everybody why Trick will definitely whoop your ass. To whoever they put in front of him. Except for Baron Corbin. But Braun Breaker. But him against Gacy. I was seeing a bit of the Joe Gacy that I knew and loved during that breakout tournament in 2021 before they went into 2.0. And I just have to say that I have become more and more a bigger Trick Williams fan from tonight's match. And I just wanted to acknowledge in the comments that Charmaine feels like we're ignoring her because of her comments regarding Dominic Mysterio, which we are going to get to about that because that did get brought up later in the show, and about the triple threat match that had a little adjustment to it.
Charmaine, my darling, we're going to get there. We're trying to break down all the other spots of the show, but we're not ignoring you. We see you. Just so to let you know that you've been seen. George, give her at least 10 points. We're going to give her 10 points. What's this, JL? I'm sorry. What was that? Braun Breaker? I felt like this guy was asleep, and then he woke up. He's like a dog, and his ears perked up when he had Braun Breaker. I appreciate that this guy is just a fan. JL, I need to know, for Halloween, are you going to go as Braun Breaker? We need to know. And if you do, please send pictures because that would be great. And spare somebody for us, too. I think that would be fantastic. This match, this was just a warm-up for Trick Williams. Trick went and had another match late in the night that we're going to talk about. But Trick was just getting warmed up. Going in the ring with someone like Joe Gacy, who, you know, is a ring vet. I would say a ring veteran. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I open my mouth. He's a ring veteran. He knows what he's doing. He was able to keep up with him. I did like the ending sequence. Joe Gacy tried to go for his finish, that flipping handstand lariat, and then Trick Williams said, "Nah, knees." Nah. He didn't say all that. I just wanted to add that. But I thought this was fantastic stuff. And I'm happy that Trick is getting an opportunity. And I'll add this in here too, when he was trying to tell his boy, you know, Melo. But Melo's busy. He's world champion. He's answering like phone calls, texts, and all these things. And he's
about the contract signing because everybody knows that 99% of the time those do not go smoothly. Especially NXT contract signings, especially from this past year.
What? Just in wrestling, none of that stuff goes well. Contract signings, wedding. If I was to ever get married, I would never be well. What, wedding?
One wedding that went well. No drama, no beating up or anything. The first day of NXT 2.0, and I should know because I was there in person.
Well, you know, to an extent, no. You know what? Wrestling Dog, respects to you because you brought that back as a memory. Didn't Dexter Lumis choke somebody out?
No.
Yes, he did. He choked somebody out. He did. He choked somebody out, and he showed that he had a freaking axe. So yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that nobody would do anything, but other than that, the wedding went smoothly.
Yeah, if someone showed me an axe, I wouldn't do nothing after that. I'd be pretty petrified because he had a freaking axe. You know, you talk about wrestling weddings. Let me tell you, one of my favorite wrestling weddings was on Impact. It was Jeff Jarrett marrying Karen. Was Angle, but now Jarrett, right? And Kurt Angle was Jeff Jarrett's best man. You gotta check it out. It is hilarious. Kurt Angle's on his best behavior. He's seen his ex-wife and his enemy getting married. And when Kurt Angle is so polite, the way he's sitting and said, "Father, are we done?" And he said, "Yeah." And then when Kurt Angle sat there, he looked, he smiled at everyone, flipped over something, and there was I don't know what this thing is with wrestling with axes. I just would never go to a wrestling wedding ever, because if you're gonna carry an axe, that is not my jam. That is not the jam. We got Elvis Martinez. That means the party is over. At the end of the show, folks, because he just ruined it. George, definitely a negative 200 points for Elvis. For being
I have a couple favorite weddings of mine.
For being so small, Elvis. How are you going to be 4-1 and get up? You jerk. Go ahead, Wrestling Doll.
So mine would be the Lana and Lashley's wedding that got disrupted by Liv Morgan.
That was a good one.
And then the other wedding being Edge and Vicky getting interrupted. I can't remember who exactly.
Triple H.
But
Triple H.
Yes, thank you. Showing footage of Edge making out with Alicia Fox.
Okay. Alicia Fox. I like me some Alicia Fox. Young, she was very young, brand new to the system. She's still pretty too. Shout out to Alicia Fox.
She's gorgeous.
She's a gorgeous woman.
Listen, Elvis, I know you're trying to be Paige back when she was. You're trying to be Paige now, but nobody missed you.
No, you can't be. No one misses people who are like 4'2". You know, we laugh at you. We were like, "Oh, look, you know what I do when I see people very like just can't do nothing? I just do like this. I just put it on the top shelf and then walk off." That's what you do. You teach them a lesson. Or you take away their step ladders, Elvis. I always just want to be very loud. And you know what, Elvis? Because we used to have UPR what are those things called? Promo battles. He got dominated by guess who? Charmaine. So Elvis, I never want to see your face. Matter of fact, I can't see your face because you're too small.
You can't see him.
John Cena should sue you for all the tiny pennies that you got, you tiny jerk. She has a channel on her Instagram account, meaning Alicia Fox. That's dope. That's fantastic for her. We're gonna run through this one more thing before we go into a commercial. We're bringing back commercials here. That's fantastic. Tell me, what were we talking about? We're talking about Trick. Oh, let me just finish this real quick. Trick, he's telling Mello everything. Mello's just so busy. And you know, you can see it right there. You can see right there that they're still putting the little seeds in it. And I know what's going to happen, but I still go, no.
We don't want it to happen. It's like
no.
when Roman Reigns on the back that destroyed the Shield. We didn't want that to happen.
There was one guy, if you look at that video back, right?
Yeah,
there's
you
one guy
screen right before it even happened.
Yes. I just think that was fantastic. George is giving you 5,000 points for making that John Cena You Can't See Me. I feel like I've made some funnies. Where's my points for my funnies? Have I not been fun? Are you trying to take my
infinite amount of points for your funnies?
Damn, that was good cleanup. Good job. You should be on. You should be the cover girl for Swipper because you just cleaned that shit up real good. Good job. That was fantastic. Another 5,000 points for George. Good job. Mello didn't listen to Trick. No, and that was heartbreaking. And you could just see Trick. That bothered him.
It hurt.
It did. Let's see. We talked about the Tony stuff. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this segment. We're going to combine it all in one thing. Thea Hail. She has a brand new look, right? She's dressed. She's dressed. That couldn't be my daughter. I'm just gonna sit here and say that. I would say you're gonna put on some more.
That could be mine when she moves out and goes to college.
And even then, I would sit here and I have a 5-year-old niece, and I'm already just sitting there saying, "No, you can't do any of those things." No,
listen, I get that.
Yes, so, but you know, she's out there with.
When she came out in that, well, first of all, when they had that Titantron come out with her old music, I was like, "There is no way they're gonna have her come out with that still." So when JC Jane came out, I was like, no, wait a minute. Snaps her fingers and it changes. I was like, okay, the music sounds good. The font could have been a little different, but they're probably working with it or something. But maybe just make her look like a powerhouse. And then she comes out, and I kid you not, my jaw dropped from beginning to end before the match started. So I was like,
was it hard tired?
That was not what I expected at all, but I liked it.
Oh, so you're a fan of this new, the new look?
Yes. I was like, Thea Hail's good, but she just needed to branch out of Chase U. Otherwise, she was just going to be stuck as their Energizer Bunny for a while. Doesn't always work when you're with Chase U all the time.
She, the music I put for it, I said, this is Coyote Ugly music. That was the vibe I got out of here. And then I saw her with the leather. I immediately said, Shay Sawyer is punching the air right now because she don't like people with leather. But this match was really to just showcase this brand new side of Thea, right? I thought Dani got to show some. I don't see a lot of Dani, right? I know I've seen some of her stuff, but not a lot. So when I saw her,
showcase her that much on TV, even before when she debuted.
I was gonna say, is she more on what's that, Level Up?
Yeah, she was more on Level Up. I was there when she debuted on Level Up, and I know because that gear she wore tonight was the same gear she wore when she made her debut.
Oh, really? Okay, yes. Good. That's a good eye. Good eye. Yeah. Dani, she showcased some of her athletic ability. She shows Did she do a moonsault? It was like a moonsault. It was a flip move. I wasn't sure if it was a moonsault or like a 450 or something. Because it was a move that she did and she landed on her feet. I thought that was really impressive. But Thea gets the win. She makes Dani taps out with the Kimura lock. And I loved at the end, right? Because if you follow me on Twitter, I'm a fun follow. You see her after the win, she's hugging Thea, and she waves.
And we're like, what's she waving at? And then we see she's waving at Andre, Chase, and Duke Hudson. They're looking like, what is going on? They almost look like those parents that are like super upset when their daughter goes through changes, like not being the sweet little girl that they used to know. Like, my baby.
And I sit here and say, once again, JC Jane is such a lovely friend. Shout out to JC Jane for saving her from the clutches of Andre Chase.
Yeah, hopefully she doesn't turn her back on Thea. That's all I'm going to say.
Has JC Jane turned on anybody that was important? I don't think so. Did you not hear my sentence? Has she ever turned on anyone that's important? Listen, Gigi she seemed like a sweet girl, right? I think that if I hung out with her, we could go to a hamburger place because I like hamburgers. I'm not sure she eat hamburgers. My point is, she seemed like a fun person to hang around. But JC James, I mean, she stands up for her friends. She's all about that TLC song, and I'll mention it every chance I get. If you're a big fan of TLC, what about your friends? You understand the meaning of that word friendship. So shout out to JC Jane. Everyone should appreciate her good heart because we don't have a lot of that here on this planet. Some people suck. We got Jeffrey. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. George, at least take away 15 points away from Jeffrey, please, because that was very rude. We got new Chris. He says, congratulations to Jade Cargill signing with WWE. Yeah, it was a big deal for her. I mean, I feel like she's just finally getting some sleep because she was the talk of the town today. This morning,
hopefully the performance center with the training regimen that they have, they might make her a better wrestler. And who knows, maybe I'll actually like watching her on TV and I won't be complaining about her.
A lot of people are already sitting there saying she's going to the main roster. And it might be, but I still sit here and say I think her best chance is going to.
NXT for like 6-7 months, come out, make her debut during like a pay-per-view or something, and then come into Raw or SmackDown.
I would even go as far as her winning this. I don't know. They never put an exact date.
Not to win, but like to
enter. No, I'm saying for the women's. So NXT is having a women's breakout.
That's next week.
Oh, that's next week. Is it?
They're gonna announce who's in it next week at No Mercy.
Oh, then I don't know if there's enough time, but I would have sat here and said,
there wouldn't be enough time if that were the case.
Oof, I would, because to me that would have been a perfect place to put her.
Train with some of these people, needs to work with some of these people before anything. So, yeah, that's why I say like maybe like make an debut of like a pay-per-view or something like Royal Rumble.
A lot of people were even saying that. A lot of people said Royal Rumble would be a great place to put her. I actually like that idea, but I'd rather her more in NXT. But I do like that idea. But it's looking like she might go on to the main roster. But before we go any further, you guys are watching. Jesus, where are these? Okay, there is no, because he put it all the way down. Guys, we're gonna play a quick commercial. Then we're gonna come back with more NXT. The great Grand Slam Pooba, the wonderful wrestling dog, will be right back after these words.
Well, I'll tell you what. The person who I think is doing very well, even though he lost the championship, is actually one Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory has definitely stepped up his game. I think he actually is the reason why they got 153 million views and not The Rock.
No. What? How much coke have you been doing? What?
I don't drink
what?
Yeah, no. I don't drink soda. So here's the thing.
No, he's still drunk from last night because
not at all. I didn't even drink last night.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Yeah, all right.
Playing the part of dice. Playing the part of dice. Look, Austin Theory is that man. You put The Rock and Stone Cold with that guy. Come on, they know there's something special in him. And you put The Rock in there with any other person in WWE today, it would not have created the magic that it did with Austin Theory because Austin Theory knows how to put The Rock over, and that's what he did last night.
You're going to say that about Grayson Waller, too, right?
Grayson Waller is the future. Grayson Waller.
Jack, you all right? You dead? I think Jack just broke his neck.
Where's Jack at? Where's Jack at? Where's Jack at?
He's on the floor.
Oh my God! People's elbow. Is that what happened? He's about to get people's elbow.
Oh my God, guys! You're watching Unpopular Review.
You know what?
I think it's very rude. I think I've, found ways to entertain you guys. So the fact that someone thought that would be funny to be a commercial, I want them fired. George, are you still in the chat? I want you to take away at least a negative 2 million points away from whoever made that commercial, because that was very rude.
I think we all know who made that commercial.
I didn't want to reveal who it is, but I think we all do too. And he's very rude, and he's a triple B. and that's basic bald. And I'll let you figure out what the B was. But guys, you're watching Unpopular Review. This is the NXT review show, the after party, if you will. You got the bad guy, you got the wrestling doll. We're here to continue to give our thoughts and the review of NXT. Hey, we don't do this enough, right? You see all these handles up here. Give them a follow. Give the Facebook. But I mean, I know it's kind of a dying breed, but follow us on Facebook, YouTube. If you're on YouTube, and I see a lot of you guys are on YouTube because I see the red thing next to you guys' face. So hit that subscribe button, like it. Instagram, Twitter, they're calling it X, but we're gonna name it. We're gonna continue to call it what their mama called it.
Call it Twitter, just like I keep calling PLE's pay-per-views because I'm paying to view it.
Hello. And on Twitch.
Sorry, Mike Knox.
You said sorry to who?
Mike Knox.
Oh, don't be sorry for him.
Because he made a comment about that when I said that.
You know what I do?
Someone that did work here said that before with him. So
when Mike starts getting very loud with me, you know what I do? I sit here and I say, you think I'm a loud person?
No, but that's just my guess.
I don't yell.
No,
I speak very calmly and I say, hey, you, and then I proceed to hang up the phone on him without saying goodbye. That's how you send a message. And that's how you do things.
Hey, look at here.
Who's that? It's New H Man. He says, hi there, wrestling door. I like your hat. Damn. You know what? A negative 5 points because he didn't like nothing either. What about my bandana? It's a very nice bandana.
He has a cool bandana on.
No.
Get him in the mic a bit so they can see it.
Look, I'm in my American badass Undertaker phase. I'm going to come next week. I'm going to come in gloves.
And I'm going to crazy and Gigi Dolin phase.
That's very rude, Jeffrey. I don't yell. And he asks, how did I fall on the chair? I don't know. The chair betrayed me. What kind of nonsense is that? How about you ask, how was my medical? Charmaine is so sweet. That's why I give her hugs. You see that, Ron? That's cool. That's why we like you, Charmaine. I know I always yell at you, but people just make me mad, and I can't help it. I'm working on it. Let's move on. So, okay, let's move a little bit back further, right? Trick Williams, he won his match early in the night, and he's backstage with Axiom and Taylor Bate. These guys were talking about because they were in the Invitational. Yes, they were in the locker room, but they were in the Invitational, so there was like no personal beef or anything like that. They were having a fun conversation. They were talking for funsies, and then Trick Williams come in. And he says, because early in the night after he beat, we should have mentioned, but after he beat
Gacy, and Malik was basically like ignoring him, paying attention to his phone, like even Drake, am I on mute or something? He just says, I'm gonna go after some gold on my own. And so he goes right over to the Heartbreak Kid's office. And now we go to this segment.
Yes, and he tells them pretty much that the triple threat that originally there was going to be a triple threat, but now it's going to be a fatal four-way. So, you have Dragon Lee, Axiom, Tyler Bate, and Triple One. I thought this match was good. I was moving around a little bit, but I was looking up and I was doing my thing. And I thought these guys went out there and they killed it. I mean, you got the talent of Dragon Lee, who, by the way, I do want to sit here and say that Monday
for wrestling 24 hours after being on Raw, wrestling Dominic, who looked pretty interesting with that shiner on his face.
It gives him tough guy look. I mean, he got
it's the first thing that makes him look tough since that mullet he's been growing out.
I was gonna say he doesn't do the tattoos anymore, right? He used to have like the raindrop.
Stop doing that, thank God. Okay. All I'm gonna say is pull up that mullet in wrestling is Eddie Guerrero. May his soul rest in peace.
We love Eddie. Sometimes when I watch back some of the old stuff, like when I look back, and I was like, man, I really didn't appreciate Eddie. But like one of my favorite clips I love seeing with Eddie, it was a tag match. It was him and Booger, I think against the Passions. I don't know. But he has the tag rope and he's moving to the center.
Yes, and he pulls it over so that when he tags Booker, he's like, he still has the rope, but then the ref's like, you gotta put it back over there.
And I'm laughing because every time the ref tries to like tell him something, he takes the rope and he says, no, I'm not giving it to you. I'm like, how are you gonna give the rope to him? What are you talking about? Eddie was great. I think Eddie, I think he would be retired if he was still alive, but it makes me go like, man.
Eddie would have been retired, and they would have brought him in for Roman to unfortunately squash and beat the ever living crap out of. But he would have put a great fight.
I was going to sit here and say a match with him. A match with him and AJ.
WW2K.
Huh? We
can get that on W2K.
We could. I was going to sit here and say that Eddie Guerrero against AJ Styles would have been such a fun match. You know, I would have. I would have loved to have seen that been a thing. And Jeffrey says Eddie was the best. Agreed. That crowd on Monday night was in Wow of Dragon Lee. Yeah, they
were. And if Dragon Lee doesn't win any belts anytime soon, he has a prominent
main
roster.
Matter of fact, before this, and I still have thoughts, I'll save it for later of the show. I thought they were going to have a rematch. Although the thing is, why would they have a rematch after Dom beat him clean yesterday? But my thought was, you know, since originally it was supposed to be Dom against Mustafa, and obviously that match is not going to happen, I thought maybe they'll run that back, and then Dragon Lee wins the championship. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. But let's get into this match. Once again, this match was really good. I thought these guys really killed it. I believe it was, I don't know if it was Dragon Lee on Action, but they did this half Nelson, and when they flipped Tyler Bate, he landed on his head, and it looked really gruesome, you know. Tyler Bate shows that he's the strong boy. When he had Dragon on
his shoulders and then had Axiom on his legs, and he started spinning them around.
Yeah.
It's like when we would see Claudio Castagnoli, now back then known as Cesaro, do that. Yeah. But this one was much cooler because he had somebody on his shoulders while he did that. It's like if Cesaro could have done that, that would have made the spins look even more epic.
You know, when Cesaro used to, you know, I'm sorry, Warman. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm so into the groove, but I do acknowledge you, Warman. Jack doesn't acknowledge me at Warman. No, I do acknowledge you. You are fantastic, sir, and I do apologize. I was just so caught up in the mode, but I do see you. I see all you guys in the chat. Jeffrey wanted to bring up a good point. He says, let's talk about those double submission. I think it was Trick who had the Boston Crab. Tyler went for the armbar. I forgot who was in the move. And then I think Dragon had the headlock on Trick. I believe that's how that looked. Yeah, that was wild. But
it's like if he taps, he was gonna win.
Vic kept saying that. Vic said, and I got a thing to say about Vic later, as you guys can tell, because
I'm Vic, you're a booker.
I'm Booker. I could spin on my head. Yes, I could. Matter of fact, I'm really much Booker T. I got my ass kicked one time in the supermarket. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. And if you guys ask who was Stone Cold, you guys know as Mama Badguy. That's why. She's very rude.
I just want to say the segment that Dominic had with Mackenzie was funny because he's acting like, oh, I'm so happy that since I retained my championship at Raw, I can just go home with my mommy, watch No Mercy at home, and eat my chicken tendies. Which, for those who hadn't seen the little clip on Instagram, I've seen it, Jack's probably seen it, of Damian and Finn having an interview with Kathy, and they're talking about stuff of the Judgment Day, and they had mentioned how Dominic is very childish when it comes to eating out because the only thing he will eat at restaurants are chicken tenders.
Chicken tenders are pretty good.
You know? They are, but that can't be the only thing you eat, though.
No, it can't be. You know what I found amazing?
Out of that, the man's 21 for crying out loud.
Is he 21? I thought he was 24 or something like that. Really?
Or in his 20s. I mean, how old he is.
He's a young lad. I know he's younger than me.
He's younger than me too.
He's
a couple years younger than me. He's 26. He had.
Oh, okay. Okay, 26. But this was a good match. Trick wins, but he wins because he fell on. Was it Axiom? Did he fall on Axiom? He falls on Axiom, gets the 1, 2, 3, and I'm happy for Trick, man.
First title match for Trick Williams.
Yes, I don't see him winning, but I'm just.
Oh no, I love Trick, but I know he's not gonna win, unfortunately.
I would love for him to win, but I just don't think that's the story that we're going with. I don't see that being a thing. But I was really happy for him. Very much happy for him. Matter of fact, when he was put in this match, I said, I want Trick to win. I want him to win. I wasn't sure if they were going to
put him in the match. It kind of would have been weird if they put him in, but he lost.
Cool.
Saying,
if he was in this match. Yeah. No, I get you.
To have been put in this match and then wound up losing. It's like with AEW when they do their Casino Battle Royal, put in the mystery person, and the mystery person always wins. Which is not a secret, Tony Khan.
Yeah.
It's the worst kept secret.
Yeah, Khan. We got in the chat. Jeffrey says Trick was legit surprised. He won. We got Warman. Carmelo might cost Trick the match. I don't think he's going to.
No, he's
I don't think that's.
Be too busy focusing
War
on
Games.
This match.
We got War Games. I'm sorry, I think War Games, the Judgment Day.
Judgment Day versus Cody, Kevin, and Sammy. Which
it's looking that way. It's looking the way it ended on Raw, and we're going to talk about that Saturday because there's a Raw and SmackDown review. So, I will be there in a seat. I will not fall. We got. We said talk about those submissions. We got H-Man said my friend Tino will not be here. Will not be here tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite Go Home Show Special Wrestle Dream, and he will not come in. AEW Collision Saturday night. I'm doing Peacock. Yeah, I will not be watching Collision that day. I will be watching No Mercy. I didn't realize No Mercy was so right here. That's amazing to me. Thank you, Jeffrey. He says happy birthday to Mama Badguy. I'm gonna definitely pass that word to her. She had a fantastic day yesterday. We had apple martinis, and we treated her to some called BJ's. I don't know if people are familiar with, but they serve really good wings and pizza and stuff like that. So she had a fantastic day. We talked about the Fatal Forward. Let's talk about this. Mm-hmm.
Oh, but we almost forgot. Since Trick Williams is in the match with Dominic, they added Mr. HBK added a new twist. You got a special enforcer, and his name is Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee. We're gonna give up.
Call this match down the middle, or if you'll pull up Dominic.
We're gonna have to wait and see. Let's talk about this match right here. And this was the match that I knew. Okay, Dijak against Eddy Thorpe, right? So can I just say something real quick? Of course I can. Let me say some things. Dijak has dominated Eddy twice. Why is there a run back match? Why? Because Eddy lost? Because Dijak hit a tree? So Eddy want to get revenge for this tree? And then on top of that, he has his family out there. So he already started cheating by using his family to come out here. Dijak was fantastic here. I do got to sit there and say he was fantastic. He was beating the hell out of. This is a strap match, by the way. I should make sure I throw it out there. This is a strap match. Dijak against Eddy. There's a good back and forth between the two men, but then Dijak starts taking advantage because he dominates. He's the dominating Dijak, and he's beating the hell out of Eddy, and then he's beating the hell out of Eddy in front of his niece. And then Vic, you fool, you sit here and then you say, "Oh, come on, not in front of her. That's too much." Booger had to sit here and say he knew what he signed up for, which is true. You put your family in to get your ass kicked? That's not Dijak for. We think Dijak's going to sit there and lay down for you? No! This is not the place for that. Dijak was doing God's work, kicking Eddy's ass. There was a lot of, I'm going to say, there was a lot of ass juice being flying because his ass was getting kicked so badly. But Eddy made the sweet comeback. He was able to overcome. He started whipping Dijak. And he got the win with an impressive big elbow. I got to give it up to him. But he gets this measly one win off Dijak. Meanwhile, Dijak has been dominating you. Just on the reg at that. I'm talking about dominating. He was able to put a bowl of oatmeal, heat it up, whoop ass, then eat that warm oatmeal. And then after that, have a nice cold orange juice, then sit here and watch Looney Tunes. I don't know if he likes Looney Tunes. I'm using that because I love Looney Tunes. All I'm saying is this match made me upset. Dijak shouldn't have lost. Dijak should have dominated him for a third time, but then he probably would have got another match because Dijak would have probably stepped on the flower and then he would have said, "Oh my God, you're ruining nature. I hate Captain Planet." Take the floor.
Well, that was quite the passionate rant about it, which is understandable. However, when you desecrate a sacred place that is important to someone and their culture, it amps them up and makes them attack and go crazy. So that is why we had this strap match. And yes, Eddy should have known what he was signing up for when bringing his mom, his niece, his father, everybody there. But it also gave him more reason to go and beat Dijak down to the ground, especially to the point where hitting him on the back with the strap and the white belt that Dijak had brought to disrespect Eddy some more and retain and get a victory over Dijak. And who knows what's going to happen. Dijak's going to say that Eddy got lucky, and they'll probably do one more final match, like an Extreme Rules, no holds barred, falls count anywhere, all of the above match somewhere.
They're going to fight in the woods. That's what we're doing. Take it to the woods.
At this point, we're probably going to have the same thing that AJ and Undertaker had.
It's going to be a cinematic match?
Yes. Instead of a graveyard, it'll be in the place that Eddy goes to be one with himself and his culture, where Dijak disrespected. That's what I feel like could happen.
We got Jay in the chat says I sound like him. Not at all. Booker was like, his niece should have stayed home. Yeah. Matter of fact, do you remember that match? It was Dijak against Dragunov, and his wife was there. His wife was there. He said, "What are you doing here? Get out of here!" Because he knew this was going to be brutal. But Eddy, he's a terrible. See, I'm an uncle, and I'm a fantastic uncle, by the way. I would have never had my niece out there. Let me tell you something. Can I tell you what would have happened if I was out there and I was getting my ass kicked and my mother was there? I'll tell you exactly what happened. My mother would have hopped over the barricade, looked the other person in the face, and then joined in and jumped me because she doesn't care about me. That's totally what she would have turned heel and just left me to get beat up. Just going to throw it out there. I have no follow-up. I'm just saying my mother would have just stomped me out too. The mother did nothing and just watched the son get an ass kicked, and I think that's horrendous. And it sounded like someone's having a nice bowl of something. Is that oatmeal? Is that the oatmeal I was talking about earlier?
Probably.
Oatmeal's fantastic. I think we pretty much covered everything except the contract signing. But before we go any further,
we also had a brief after Briggs and Corbin's match where Corbin actually got a W.
Oh, we didn't even mention that, right?
The match was okay. I mean, my internet got cut off for a bit, so I didn't see the first 5 minutes of the match. Sure. But from what I did see, Briggs was pretty dominant. He was holding his own with Corbin, but Corbin managed to put him in the end days and beat Briggs. Braun Breaker comes out.
He beat the Briggs off him, right?
Yes.
Jack made it funny.
Yes, you
Go
did.
ahead. Thank you.
And then Braun, you would think he's going to want to talk or say something. No, he didn't want to talk with his mouth or use words. He wanted to talk with his fists and beat the crap out of him and be in the spotlight on the show for the first 5 minutes. And then after a while, when Corbin's walking out before getting interviewed, Braun attacks him yet again and gets another spotlight for 2 more minutes. And then at the end of the show, they're fighting outside in the parking lot. Nobody got kidnapped or anything. However, Braun did get hit and not put through the car, but hit on the roof of the car.
Did you see the spot where Braun?
More minutes. So that was the 12 minutes he had in total tonight.
Did you see the spot where Braun he went for the spear and he speared the door? I just thought that was hilarious. I don't know why. I chuckled. It's not the same like when Braun Strowman, when he ran through the ambulance door, he was trying to run through Roman. Roman moved. He said, "I'm not finished," and he runs through the door. It's not the same. But I just thought that was pretty comical. He speared the door. I said, that's just about right to me. That just sounds about right. That was hilarious. We got people fighting in the chat. Thank you, Warman. I'll make sure to pass that to Mama Badguy. Braun has registered weapons in his hand.
Braun has registered weapons. It's called his hands.
Mm-hmm. We got George. He says Trick Williams stole the show. Braun needs to leave NXT. It's funny. I was on Instagram or something. Someone shared a video of Braun and Corbin fighting, And it said Shawn Michaels and telling Triple H, when are you going to take this Braun Breaker guy? Because I think his hands are just tied. He's like, get this guy out of here.
Hands are tied, but I mean.
But I feel like he's definitely going to stay for a little bit more because
he's not leaving just quite yet.
He's not going to leave yet because he's not finished. I don't think he's finished with his program with Von Wagner. Nope. I do want to cover 2 more things. We're going to run through it real quick. I mean, we should probably add this when we were talking about the stuff about the tag team. But Hank Walker and Tank, they were fed to Bronco and Lucius. That's when we learned the whole name Out the Mud. I just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, it's not much to. And also, Gigi got jumped by Blair. And also, Gigi got jumped by Blair. Gigi tried to get her earlier. Then Blair showed her how it was done, turned off the lights, and beat the hell out of this girl. So it looked like that's going to be a match. It's not going to be at No Mercy. They didn't say that for No Mercy, but it looked like it's going to be a match that they're going to save later. If it's not next week, the week following. And they talked about the vignette, and we'll cover that real quick. There's somebody sitting. So, question to everybody. Have we ever found out who was NXT Anonymous? Because I feel like that's never been solved. But now we have this video of someone sitting on the couch. He's scrolling through the channels. And then it stops on WCW Saturday night. And I remember some WCW Saturday night. I used to kind of watch it. So now it's, who is this person?
It could be anybody, because literally almost every wrestler watches back older programs so they could study up like matches like that. So it's not going to be like anybody older and specific. It could be literally anybody.
Could be. I mean, my guess was Juventud Guerrera, but I'm not too sure. Wouldn't that be great? Juventud on NXT? Oh man, these shows would be.
Juventud go on SmackDown and beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. Championship.
He's already dominated Rey Mysterio. He has nothing to prove to Rey Mysterio. I think if he went out there, he would take him to the clean.
Prove it to the people.
He has nothing to prove. He's the greatest luchador of all time. What are we talking?
He's the greatest of all time.
He's the greatest. Listen, he would beat Juventud. This is how bad. No, Juventud would beat Rey Mysterio. It would be so bad. He would take him to the cleaners on the weekends, leave him there on Sundays because the cleaners are closed, meaning he will sit there and starve for the rest of the days, and then come back on Monday and sit there and proceed to dominate him some more. Juventud, oh my God, that's going to be a top 5. Top 5 Juventud Guerrero matches. You guys want it, because I know what you guys want. You guys want to hear my top 5 Juventud Guerrero matches and my top 5 why I do not like Bill Goldberg. That's coming eventually. I might do it on Goldberg's birthday. I know it's in December. Stay tuned, because I have a top 20 reasons why I don't like Goldberg. And it definitely starts with the shoes, because not good fashion sense. Yuck. But if it's Juventud Guerrero, I think it would be great. I think he would be tremendous. I think he would be the one to, because Dom, he has a really good Hoovy driver, but Hoovy would sit there and say, let me show you how it's done. And then he would sit there and proceed to dominate Dragon Lee. I know it was your idea, Jeffrey. That's your idea. You get 5 points for that, Jeffrey. I'm sorry. I want to give points to Jeffrey because he wanted to make sure that he got his idea over. 7. How many zeros is that? How many power points?
He put 7 million points for disrespecting Rey Mysterio.
JL, you're the new point guard. Just take away all of George's points because George is very rude. I given him a little bit of power, and now he just don't know how to act. Rude. Go ahead, Russell.
Bill Goldberg's birthday is on the 27th of December, so you can
December 27th. Top 5 bad guy Jacked. Why I dislike Goldberg. I'm gonna have. You know what? I'm gonna tell you guys a story. You guys want to hear a story? Story time with bad guy. You know, my mother's birthday was yesterday. I mean, yeah, it was yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm losing track of time. And she likes Bill Goldberg, so I sat there and I watched the Bill Goldberg match with her. Now you guys might say, "Bad guy, you don't like no Bill Goldberg match," and I'm like, "I do actually. There's 2 of them, but I'm gonna go with my top 1 Bill Goldberg match." So I said, Mommy, let's watch this match. So we sit down and we watch my favorite Bill Goldberg match. And you guys might sit here and say, what match was that? Starrcade 1998, Kevin Nash against Bill Goldberg. What is the significance of it? You might be asking that, Wrestling Doll. That's when Kevin Nash dominated Bill Goldberg, and he lost for the first time with his very fake streak. It was 173. It wasn't even 173. He didn't beat no 173 people. He's not that good. He's not Ryu from Street Fighter or Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. No, he's the guy who gets the fatalities done on him. I'm sorry, I had to get that off. Anyway, as I showed my mother this match, I want you guys to know I won't be here next week because I am officially grounded, and I didn't know 35-year-olds could be grounded. So if you don't see me next week, you know why. Because I am officially grounded. I was only able to get away for tonight. Let's go into the final thing. The final thing of the night. I don't know how many points did this George keep doing. Like, now there's like more numbers.
He gave you negative 19 million.
And then Jeffrey's lying. Watch the match back. Get back to me, Wrestling Doll. Jeffrey's lying. Kevin Nash beat Goldberg. He's saying there was a taser gun. No, Goldberg got distracted because bald people are idiots, and he got power bombed by Kevin Nash. Bald people, they don't know nothing. Listen, real quick.
No, you know what? This happens to be bald.
Who?
Ricochet.
You know why he's bald? That's God's way of humbling him because he's too fancy. He's too fancy. Listen, I like Ricochet too, but see, here's my thing with bald people. I don't trust bald people with stuff. Like, I wouldn't trust them to watch anything for me because if you can lose your hair, image, what else you can lose? But let's move on to the final thing because I can rant on bald people. Goldberg is my top 5. Don't come from him. Well, no.
What program have you been watching?
Well, this makes sense because this guy like Braun Breaker. He likes to spear, apparently. What do you think about this real quick? I want to sit here and ask you guys this. Braun Breaker said on an interview, just a quick thing, but he said he has the best spear, I guess, when he was asked compared to him and Roman. Do you guys agree with that? Because I actually do. I think Braun has a fantastic spear. But what do you think, Wrestling Doll?
I think he has a good spear, but I'm more satisfied watching an Edge spear.
Really? Okay.
Even AJ Styles said that taking Edge's spear was very painful.
Really? You know who always looked like, and I don't need anyone recording this and send this back to me, but Goldberg actually had a really good spear, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not going any further because I can't do that. Braun has the best spear of all pro wrestling. Oh, okay. Okay, JL, we get it. You like Braun. Let's get into this fight.
That comment above, JL would have the rest of the men of UPR going after him.
Who?
He said that Braun has a superior spear than Roman.
I gotta sit there and agree. He does. He has what's so good about his spear? It's so explosive. Like when he hit the spear on Carmelo, it looked so brutal when he sprung in the air and you just hit an impact. It looked like that should have ended the match, but it didn't. Braun definitely does have the superior spear. We got Edge spear as a hug.
Male in that chat to say that, not in this chat, in our chat for UPR, then
we got George.
The sky is falling.
George says Edge, Roman, Goldberg have good spear. You know who's not really put in this conversation is Rhino. Rhino, maybe not these days because he's a lot older, but back in the day, that shit looked brutal, like really brutal. Especially when he hit. There's one you gotta look at, and a shout out to The Rock because he's such a great seller. He took this gore and he flipped, but that's kind of was The Rock's thing. He would flip. So I just wanted to say it here. Batista, Batista's didn't do it for me. Edge wasn't so much for me.
Talking power bombs, then yes, Batista. But we're
Batista
talking.
Guy. But if you're just talking in general, because I like Batista, I was watching Infinity War, and I said Batista's funny. But let's get into this final part before we go into other like conversation. So we have the contract signing between Melo and Dragunov. Dragunov is he's getting into the mind of Carmelo. He's mentioning saying
games he's been playing are really getting to Melo, especially since he mentioned that he's not like certain people in the company, and then he brings up Trick's name, and everybody starts going, "Oh,
yeah." I more fire add to the wood. Yeah. More fire as she take her sip of what is that tea? You got tea there, Wrestling Doll?
No, I'm drinking water.
Water is fantastic. I have water too, right here. It's not as cold as it should be, but here it is. I'm gonna take a sip right here. But take the floor. But yeah, you want to take the floor? Please.
Well, I was also going to say that Melo looked ready to fight and put Ilja through that table right then and there before signing that contract. It was quite intense. I was trying to watch. I logged into the stream early, and the consultant was here with me. And
I'm so sorry about that.
He was asking me a bunch of questions and stuff and talking to me, and also going through like all the clips and stuff, asking like, what is going on here? Like, why is all this here? I'm like, it's not because of me. And I was trying to watch the contract signing, so I couldn't like really pay too much attention to it, though I was trying to really hard.
Not for nothing. We don't use enough of these clips. I mean, these clips are here because we want it to be here. It's been a while. I have a. You should have.
One pressing like, what's going on? Like, it's not me.
You should have played this. You should have You should put this clip up from. Got click a clip.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Yeah, he didn't play that one.
He sat here and said like, "Oh, you guys shouldn't do this." You'd be like, "Why?" And then you should have played this.
It doesn't matter what you think. What? Wow! Now that is some serious disrespect right there, JR.
It's hilarious.
He did play that.
Yeah, well, he's sitting here and don't like. Listen, NXT, we're great. So what's he going to do? Tell us, stop? I think not. I'm sorry, we're still live. Yeah, the segment was good. It did what it had to do to hype you up for this Saturday's No Mercy.
When
Trick
they'll do what Shrek 2 did and be better than the original.
I believe these guys are going to go out there. So why don't we real quick? I screenshot the card. And let's go through them. We got 5 matches, which is great because I like when stuff is digestible. So you don't have like 20 freaking matches because I think that's ridiculous. So let's start with this one. We have for the NXT Heritage Cup, we have Noam Dar going against Butch. Noam Dar is going to be out there with the metaphor. Who do you got for this one, Russell and Dar?
I love Butch. I feel like Noam's going to do something and retain.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I feel like he might retain, and I feel like that might be one of the few titles that is going to stay in NXT. But I would prefer a Butch were to win.
George is saying 6. So if there's a match that I missed, please put it in the chat. But for this one, it's interesting because part of me kind of can see Butch taking it. I don't know why, but part of me can see it.
He is very good at joint manipulation and breaking them fingers. So
I'm gonna stick with. You know what? I'm gonna step out here. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with what George is saying. I'm going for Butch. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but I'm gonna go for Butch. Matter of fact, no, I'm gonna stick with Noam Dar, but just because he just won this bad boy back, and I don't think he's gonna drop it. I was gonna go with Butch because part of me is like, but I'm gonna stick with.
I mean, they did the same. They've done it to some people quite a few times. I mean, The Miz did hold the title for like 8 days and lost it.
Let's go with
that up during the day 1 pay-per-view predictions, and you and the technician found that very funny when I made the executive consultant very unhappy about that.
I like when the executive or EC, we'll just call him ECG for EC Grandpa. I like when he's like irritated, like that makes me. Nah, you backseat. What is going on? I'm pulling for Butch. Nah, you backseats.
No takesies, backsies. It's his predictions. If he wants to pick Noam Dar instead, let him pick Noam.
Yeah.
Keep a hell of a fight.
Yeah, drumtastic Jeffrey. I looked at. I thought I made up a word, but apparently that's really a word. I didn't Google it, but drumtastic. Jack, we should win the trio of undisputed. We need a third person. I think the third person should be Morgan Freeman. If you could talk to him, let's do it. We got George is laughing at Jeffrey. No take backs. What are we? What grade are we in?
Apparently, both preschool still.
We're in preschool. Jeffrey's telling me no take backsies. I don't like that because I do what I want. I am a wild stallion. I can't be contained. You could put me in a field with fences, and I'll hop over it and crash it to the moon. That's what I do. Because I crash and burn. That's how I live life. Oh, that's going to be a great quote. That's going to be on my autobiography. It's going to be called "Buy This Book, Please." And that's going to
Speaking
open
of
up
autobiographies, Becky Lynch is releasing hers, and it's coming out in March. It's called "The Story of." It's something about the story of not being an average girl.
Yeah, it's like I'm not an average girl. Fantastic, good for her.
Average girl.
Yeah. Next match, let's go with the NXT North American Championship. We have Dirty Dom going against Trick Williams with special referee Dragon Lee. I see Dirty Dom retaining.
Yeah, me too.
I feel the story is they're still going to put the title on Dragon Lee. They're just pushing it right now. So I'm going to go with Dirty Dom. Oh, the other match was the Fatal 4. Okay, I see what match I was forgetting. Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. But we have the Fatal 4-way for the NXT Tag Team Champion.
Chris said it.
Oh, Chris said it. Oh. No, but George mentioned that there was 6 matches, and I didn't have because I went on Wikipedia, so they only have 5.
Added this one too today, so.
Right. But thank you, Chris, for putting that out. Fatal 4-way for the NXT Champion, Tag Team Champion.
I got the family for that one.
The family retaining. Do I see the family? I do. But then you got the Creeds. I don't see the other teams winning, but you got the Creeds.
The Creeds are going to put up a fight.
And they don't have to like get pinned to lose. But I'm gonna go with Creeds. I'm gonna go with Creeds.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Creeds.
We're both going with the baby faces. Let's go.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna go a different route on that one. I'm gonna go with the Creeds. We have Extreme Rules match for the NXT Women's Championship. We have, which we just mentioned because she has an autobiography, Becky Lynch against Tiffany Stratton.
Becky.
Yeah, I got Becky. I think she drops the title at the end of the year, and I still say Lyra Valkyria. I know everyone's talking about Jade, and some people are even saying Jade should be the one. Nah, I think right now they're building.
I mean, technically, she's in the main roster, even though they haven't really used her like too much on TV, except for that one spot with Rhea. I feel like she might be like doing some training and stuff, and possibly doing like some dark matches. Since if she has been used on main events, she's probably been using like dark matches or house shows.
Jeffrey think he's so freaking funny. Shout out to the Drumtastic one. He says the mud is gonna stay in the mud. He made it funny.
They say they're out of the mud. They're gonna get put back in the mud.
Damn, how do you Drumtastic? How do you have Wrestling Doll make your joke even better? Should be, you know what? Who do you think you are, Jeffrey? You try to be funny, and then the Wrestling Doll just made the joke much better. 5,000 points for Wrestling Doll, please. We have Baron Corbin against Braun Breaker. I got Baron Corbin winning this. I feel like we see
the two heels. Technically, the lesser of the two evils in this case is Baron Corbin. So, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Baron Corbin, I believe, will be winning this one. But he will make Braun look good.
I see Von Wagner making a comeback, honestly. He's not. I feel like
he could come out and attack Braun during the match.
Yep. I see him coming back because I feel like that's going to be the last program for Braun. I feel like
going up to the main roster.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that's going to be the last thing Braun does before he goes up. He's going to put over Vaughn. I mean, I know he beat him one time. I'm trying to figure out if he beat him twice, but I feel like it was that one time with that one match, that regular match. I don't know if it was a stream. I forget. But yeah, I see Braun taking the L here. Sorry, JL, if you're still in the chat. He probably right now sitting there saying, you guys don't know anything about wrestling. You guys are just morons. Braun is everything. Braun discovered fire, and he created the Eiffel Tower, and he taught Vincent Van Gogh because you guys are just idiots, man. That's you, JL. That's how you sound. You're probably just sitting there going like, oh, wow, you guys are just so hateful. I don't like this channel, but I'll see you guys next Tuesday to yell at you guys because that's what he does. That's what you do, JL. And the main event is going to be Carmelo Hayes defending the NXT Championship against Dragunov. Melo's retaining. I have no follow-up. Melo is retaining.
Neither do I.
part of me, there's a small, and I'll say 5% of me that goes, maybe Dragunov can get the dub. And that's a small percentage, but I don't think that. I think Melo he shows that he can beat Dragunov. They were talking in the promo, and he mentioned something like
Rick Williams there
yes.
to encourage using the belts to cheat.
Yes. And he also in this thing he mentioned to Dragunov, he says it's not so Melo, everyone knows Dragunov can take a great amount of pain and all that stuff. That's just his thing. You give him pain, he'll absorb it and he'll get stronger. But he said that's not what this is about.
Dijak, for example.
Yeah, it was a great match. I just didn't like the ending, the way he just flew in the air and he elbowed him. I just still, especially with everything Dragunov did. Dijak did. But that's neither here nor there. But that is the card. 6 matches for the NXT No Mercy. We will probably be here for that review.
And also for No Mercy, they will be announcing the competitors for the women's breakout tournament. So be on
I missed that. They announced that? Cool.
They said that they're going to announce it at the breakout tournament. Vic did say that. You probably didn't hear because you don't really pay too much attention to Vic.
I can't stand Vic.
That's why you don't pay too much attention to what he says.
Sometimes when Vic talks, my ears start itching. And I say, oh my God, what is happening to me? And they're like, oh, it's this guy talking. You know what? I tried to invent something to mute him. And it didn't work. Because then I couldn't hear anything Booker T was saying. And I think Booker T is fan-freaking-tastic. Shout out to Vic. I thought you did it because I was black.
No.
Oh.
I would never.
There was a guy one time on the chat, and he said to me, hey, you remind me of Ron Simmons. And I had to say, is it because I'm black? Because I look nothing like Ron Simmons. I met him one time. Sweet dude, by the way. Very nice. As a matter of fact, we have the same name, Ron. So I have a lot of respect for Ron Simmons, but we don't look alike. No more Vic slander. How many points are you going to take away from me, George? Jesus. I don't have nothing. I'm bankrupt at this point. How many zeros is that?
He gave you negative 20 million points.
Millions?
Yes.
I've never even seen that in my life. George, stop taking points away from me. Jesus. It's like every time I say something, I piss him off. You know what makes me mad about you, George? That I sat here and said, come face me for a verbal exchange, and you haven't done it with your sweater, but yet I keep coming up here every week, supplying you with entertainment. You're very rude to me, George. Very upsetting. Right now, you know what I can't find I'm bringing it back next week. I'm bringing back my list because this is ridiculous. Booker T said that
we're pulling up the Jericho list again.
Jeffrey says Booker T said Thea's transferred from Hannah Montana to Wreck-It. Oh my God.
The thing is with that reference, she went from being a little girl to a woman, and that's basically what Miley Cyrus did. She grew up a little too fast for a lot of the people because she just did a complete 180 that time. I was very surprised too when she did that. But now looking back at him, like she knew what she was doing and she did exactly what she wanted. And now she's fully realized who she is as a person.
She has grown into
do that eventually.
I've never forgiven her for shaking that chicken butt on Robin Thicke. I remember I was watching the VMAs and I said, what are we shaking? Thank you, War Man. Thank you. I don't know how many zeros that is. I'm sorry. Anything after any more zeros, anything after 2 zeros, I get lost. But he's given me enough points. I am no longer in debt.
He gave you 2,500,000 points.
Damn, Russell, you're really good. I'm gonna anytime with numbers, I'm just gonna let you speak because I don't know how many. See that, George? Take that with your average sweater. Matter of fact, I'm going to wear a sweater next week, and I'm just going to. Matter of fact, I do have a sweater. Does this count? Let me show you my sweater. Yeah, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Got me all hyped up. I'm not going to wear this because it's not the holidays, but check this sweater out. No one beats me in sweaters because it's Sonic the Hedgehog. And if you tell me Sonic sucks, I will hold a grudge against you. But that's the NXT review show. Yes, my dresses are right next to me. I got to change this thing. But it's the NXT review show. Real quick, let's plug.
You're good.
Okay, there we go. Boom, right there. Real Glass. Cry Me a River. That's why I do my bit. But this is the NXT review show. We're here every Tuesday. Myself and the Wrestling Doll. We give our reviews. We talk nonsense. We talk a little bit about every other thing about wrestling. Unpopular Review is such a great content spot. We have so many things that we talk about. We talk about wrestling on Monday nights or Mondays afternoons. 6 p.m. You can catch the fantastic Mike Knox. He talks about all the everything in wrestling from Raw, SmackDown, wrestling news. And he says, "Death to dirt sheets." And he says, "The greatest women's wrestler of all time." That's Mike Knox. I wonder if he's going to be saying that now that we have Jay Cargill, but I think he's been consistent about Charlotte Flair.
He will always be consistent about that woman now until the end of time.
Like I said, you catch us here on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. I don't know who the hosts are exactly for AEW. It's a rotating circle at the moment, but you guys, after AEW Dynamite go off the air, please join Unpopular Review to hear our thoughts about Dynamite. There's a top 5 usually on Thursdays around, let's say 7:30. And on Saturdays in the morning, there's a Monday Night Raw, a Raw and SmackDown review.
Well, Raw is on Monday nights, and
yes,
SmackDown's on Friday nights. So,
yeah, so please check that out. Also, check the entertainment. There's a link. I believe they're still doing the Saw stuff.
They did Saw 6.
Jeez, there's a lot of Saw movies. It's I've never watched any of them.
3 more to review before Saw 10 comes out in 3 days.
Yeah, there's a new one coming out this week, right?
Yeah.
My little yeah.
29.
Yeah, so there's gonna be.
I hung out with a friend. I watched the first one. It was freaky as heck, but I was interested enough to want to watch more. But I'm not watching it by myself and not wanting to start outside.
That seemed like a movie.
And if I watch with somebody, if it's somebody that tries to scare me every time, I'm going to kill them.
Oh my God!
I do not like being scared while watching movies like that.
No, that's not fun. I don't like. No, that's not fun. So please follow Unpopular Review the Entertainment. There's a link there. There's a link to both me and my partners, because we have stuff outside of Unpopular Review. Wrestling Doll, you do a fantastic job when you talk about your product and your content, so please take the floor.
Well, I said I do a pretty good job at it, so I might as well say it again. I have my YouTube channel, The Unofficial Camera Woman, where I go throughout Central Florida filming matches of all the great talented people out there, some who you may have seen on WWE jobbing against some people, being on NXT, AEW, Impact, NWA, etc., etc. We're getting close to that 900 subscriber mark, and then before I know it, I'll hit that 1K.
Let's get that going. Close to 1K. Shout out to you for doing that. Great job. I have a audio podcast. We record on Sundays, and then Monday we put it out. So please give us a listen. It's the Big Pop Theory Podcast. It's a fun time. It's the same vibe that we have here on NXT. Me myself with Wrestling Doll. I have the same with Shay Sawyer. We talk about all different kind of things on wrestling from Monday night, sometime AEW. We're trying to get back to Impact a little bit. It's just hard to keep up with all this stuff because it's just so much wrestling.
There's just a lot of wrestling and from a lot of good companies. I saw stuff from NWA today, so.
You know what's funny, real quick, and before we end, and this is the graphic, there's a link in the description, so please give it. We're on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. I said plus, Jesus. But it's funny because you mentioned NWA, and I was talking to the executive consultant earlier, and we're talking about people who got cut and released, and everyone keeps saying, oh, they could go to AEW. Not everyone could go to AEW.
Too many people. They'll pay attention to those newcomers for like a few weeks, and then they'll get pushed back aside. No. Mm-hmm. Put them in Impact. Put them in NWA. Put them in MLW. Send them on the
There we go.
Anywhere else. AEW is not the only option. It might be WWE's biggest competition in terms of size. But that's not the only place where they can go, because otherwise they're going to be more packed up than they already are.
Absolutely. And I sit here and just say real quick, and I believe I said it on the podcast, but I said it a few times because, you know, Mustafa, he could be elsewhere. He'll be fine wherever he goes. I think he would be so fantastic in Impact. Impact, I think, would be a perfect fit for him. Because I thought NXT was a great fit. I think Impact would be a great fit for him, personally. And I even say put them on WoW. Isn't that women's.
Women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the women, sure. You know, so but
Emma and Aaliyah got let go. Dana Brooke got let go. If they don't go to Impact or NWA, they can always go over there too.
NWA could use some of that talent. I don't watch NWA like at all, but I look at that some of the talent that's free, and I'm like, that would help boost NWA.
Well, a lot of the people I know from the wrestling scene are on NWA.
Okay,
a couple of people I know right now are tag team champions. They have like a couple tag team champion belts over there. Mm-hmm. So I believe they're the TV tag team champions. And half of that is actually the one that plays Young Undertaker on Young Rock.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. And without all that said, Wrestling Doll, fantastic job as always. We'll be back here next Tuesday. And we plugged everything. Like I said, follow Unpopular Review, follow UPRE. Movies, there's a reality show to review the challenge.
Sorry for cutting off. I just wanted to point out because Jeffrey says last time he watched NW, Camille was champion. She was until their last pay-per-view that they had. The new women's champion over there is Kenzie Page.
Oh, there we go. See, I have no idea. I have no.
Not bad, but she's just one of those like chicken shit champions that always ran away because they have this thing where they have like 6-minute 50-second matches where you have to finish the match within that time, and more than half the time she spends it by running away and making sure that like she doesn't get like hit too much or anything like that.
Oh, okay. No,
but she's not a horrible wrestler. She's pretty decent.
She's pretty decent. Mm-hmm. With that said, I might have to keep an eye out for her because she might be someone that you see later on in like AEW, WWE. So
maybe she was on AEW at some point, like maybe for dark matches or so. I'd have to check.
Well said. Maybe. Do you see J. Cole showing up to NXT? No Mercy. If she does show up, I do agree with Jeffrey. Maybe in the crowd, they might showcase her there.
Mercedes Moné in the AEW All In or All Out.
But they've done that. But they've done that plenty of times also too in NXT. Back in the day, like years ago, like when it was a big signing, like Bobby Roode was in the crowd. When I went to NXT Brooklyn in 2018. Matt Riddle was there, and I wasn't familiar. I heard the name, but I just didn't because I didn't watch the stuff. But Matt Riddle was out there. They've done that playing to Asuka, the first NXT Takeover 2015. She was in the crowd. I'll never forget. She was out there with Ric Flair, and I think it was Sergeant Slaughter, which was a random pairing. And they didn't call her Asuka. They called her Connor. They called her Connor. So that's something that they've done before, and that'd be an interesting way of bringing it up. But we'll probably be back here Saturday to do some No Mercy. We want to say again, thank you guys. We're gonna end the show because we'll keep talking because we're really good at that and we're fantastic. Wrestling Dog, please say good night to the lovely people watching us.
Good night, everybody.
Fantastic. We'll see you guys next week for more NXT. Follow Unpopular Review. Unpopular Review. Boom.